Okay, let's dive into a question that sounds like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's actually 100% real, connecting ancient history with some seriously futuristic engineering.
Right? That is the absolute mystery of the Maya. You see, they weren't just casually looking at the stars. They were cosmic mathematicians, masters of time. And here's the part that's truly going to blow your mind. Their ancient way of understanding space and time is now helping us design the very systems that will guide humanity into deep space.
But to really grasp why this Mayan wisdom is so critical for our future, we first need to understand a huge, dangerous flaw that's literally built into our modern approach to space travel. So what is this problem we're up against?
It really boils down to a fundamental difference in thinking. Modern science, for the most part, sees time as a straight line, like a ruler. To get from Earth to Mars, we just chop that line into millions of tiny little steps. But the Maya, they saw time completely differently. Not as a ruler, but as a giant clock, a set of massive interlocking cosmic gears. And this wasn't just poetry. For really long journeys, it turns out to be a much, much better way to engineer things.
Here's the fatal flaw in our linear approach. It has a bug, a tiny one, called a truncation error. Every single time our spacecraft's computer does a calculation, it has to round off the number. It's a microscopic error, like a single grain of sand. Now, for a quick trip to the moon, who cares? But if you're on a 100-year journey to another star system, those tiny grains of sand pile up and up and up until they become a mountain of error, and your ship is millions of miles off course.
So how in the world did the Maya avoid this trap thousands of years ago without a single computer? Well, they built a totally different kind of calculator, one based on cycles, not straight lines. Let's break it down.
It all starts with the way they counted. We use a base 10 system, from our 10 fingers. The Maya used a base 20 system, using both their fingers and their toes. Now, think of it like this. It's like going from a standard definition TV to a 4K screen. Every single digit in their system held way more information, which is a huge, huge advantage when you're trying to map the heavens with just your eyes.
But the real stroke of genius, the absolute cornerstone of their entire mathematical system, was this: the concept of zero. It's what allows a number system to be positional. It's the reason we know the difference between 2, 20, and 200. Without zero, advanced math is pretty much impossible. With it, the Maya could calculate with stunning precision across vast stretches of time.
And they put all this brain power to work in their masterpiece, the long count calendar. Look, this wasn't just for keeping track of birthdays. This was a precision machine. Each of these units was like a gear that meshed perfectly with the next, from a single day all the way up to a Baktun of 144,000 days. It was a cosmic clock designed to run for millennia without ever losing a second.
Okay, this is where the past and the future just collide in the coolest way. Let's take a look at how this ancient way of thinking is providing some shockingly elegant answers to our biggest challenges in space travel today.
For decades, archaeologists were totally baffled by this one number they kept finding in Mayan texts: 819 days. It was a complete mystery. It didn't match the cycle of the sun, the moon, Venus, nothing. It just seemed like this weird random beat in their cosmic drum. And then, very recently, came the breakthrough. Scientists realized they were just zoomed in too close. The Maya were thinking on a much, much bigger scale. It turns out that 819-day count was just one piece of a much larger supercycle, 20 of them in fact, which adds up to 16,380 days. That's about 45 years.
And what happens inside that 45-year window is just, well, it's mind-blowing. It's a grand unified cycle. Within that time frame, the orbits of every single planet you can see with the naked eye, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, they all snap into a synchronized pattern. That 819-day count wasn't random at all. It was the master key, a resonance map for the entire solar system.
And this chart shows you exactly why their system works so well. Our computers use approximations. They're always rounding numbers, which is what creates those tiny errors. The Maya used exact, whole number ratios. We see time as a continuous line. They saw it as a repeating circle. We are constantly trying to smooth out our errors, but they just built in these moments where the whole system would click back into place, a perfect reset.
And get this error correction wasn't just a theory. They had a specific procedure for it, something we might call the Daykeeper Protocol. They knew their math wasn't perfect, so at certain times they would literally go out, look at the sky,
and manually reset their calculations to match what they were actually seeing, wiping out any errors that had built up. It's a genius, low-tech version of a modern control system.
So, okay, we've got this amazing ancient system. The big question is, how do we actually use this cyclical, error-correcting logic to fly a spaceship between stars?
Well, let's start with something called the interplanetary transport network. These are real. They're like invisible rivers of gravity flowing through the solar system, cosmic superhighways that you can travel on using almost no fuel. But here's the catch. You can't just get on whenever you want. The on-ramps only open and close based on the cyclical dance of the planets. It's all about rhythm, not raw power.
And that is where the Mayan mindset becomes a game changer. Instead of constantly calculating and firing engines, a Mayan navigation system would use a resonance map, just like that 819-day count, to know exactly when to hop from one gravitational river to the next. It's more like cosmic surfing than driving. You're not fighting the waves, you're just waiting for the perfect one to catch.
And, unbelievably, we are already teaching our most advanced AI to think this way. It's fascinating. When we feed an AI time as just a straight linear number, it really struggles to understand repeating orbits. But the moment we encode time as a circle using these sine and cosine functions, bam, the AI suddenly gets it. It understands the rhythm. We are literally building ancient Mayan thought into our silicon brains.
Ultimately, the lesson from the Maya is just so profound. They didn't have our technology, but they understood a deeper truth. In a universe that moves in cycles, the key is resonance. To travel the stars for decades or centuries, we can't just brute force our way through the cosmos. We have to learn from the ancient daykeepers, build ships that think in circles, and learn how to dance with the rhythm of time itself. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? The question isn't just how we'll get to the stars, but whose ancient rhythm will be the one to guide us there.